Joining us now, Raymond Jackson, president of the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 689 in Loudoun County. Raymond, thanks for joining us. I know you're pressed for time at the moment, but let us know. You guys have been on strike for 3 weeks. We're talking about 130 workers. Give us the background and the context of what's happening with this strike.
So we started negotiating with this company a while ago. Matter of fact, ever since the company came in, it's been a struggle just trying to deal with the company. One of the first things they did when they came in was not recognize the union. Then they made us go through the whole process of voting all over again for recognition, filing the paperwork. We did all of that. We got the recognition. The members said, yes, they want Local 689 to represent them. Once they got in, one of the first things they also did, after making promises not only to the union and to the county about the workers, their wages and benefits, 6 weeks later, they cut them. They cut the workers' wages and the workers' benefits. Now, here's what's funny about that. And I ask the question all the time. Whether you want to believe it or not, we're still operating in a pandemic. Since March of 2020, bus operators, train operators, station managers, because I pretty much represent the majority of the transit workers in this region. And we seem to forget about like the people who clean up the stations, the people who clean up the bus depots and things of that nature, all out in front of the public. We were the ones who made sure that your family members, if they caught COVID and needed a Metro Access van or a bus or a doctor or a nurse or anybody needing food or anything, we were the ones who took you where you needed to go. We didn't complain, and if you ask our members, some of them would even say, I didn't sign up for this, but they stood up. And for you to cut out health benefits in the middle of a pandemic speaks a lot to your character as a company. But that's how we got to where we are. We've been negotiating with the company for over 6 months, and it pretty much was we were negotiating against ourselves. We'll put something on the table, they reject it. And if they did come back with something, and you all know in this country, the inflation rate, for what they wanted to pay these people, these workers couldn't buy a dozen of eggs, and I'll say was most shameful about the whole thing is Loudoun County is supposedly the richest county in this country.
Yep. Yeah, that's my understanding. Is it's one of the like the median income there is if not the highest, one of the highest in the country. My understanding too is that you lost a lot of not necessarily in that specific local, but across your union, you lost a lot of members during COVID. And one of the things my understanding is too is that the one of the big issues here is the amount of shifts that people are having to work. Can you speak to that issue?
So just speaking to like one of our drivers who he tells, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around how he's doing it, but he may be working anywhere from 80 to 100 hours a week. Man, that's 2 jobs. That's 2 full-time jobs.
And so what is it? Well, what's going on with it? Like, one of the things that we've seen, particularly nurses striking, but we've seen this across the board, it seems to me, with workers who are deemed essential workers during COVID, where there is an attempt by these companies that come in. And again, this is a private company that the county has essentially leased the right to operate these buses. And this company is Keolis. They come in and they attempt to basically limit the number of employees that they have as a way of cutting costs, essentially upping, productivity from these people and basically driving them into the ground.
So companies like Keolis, they come in and they bid on contracts. Virginia has a law that says the most reasonable lowest bid, most reasonable responsible lowest bid. What does that mean? You know, so now they'll come in and they'll bid on these contracts, and now, you know, you at a car auction, you're bidding and you're bidding against each other to buy the car. Well, this work totally different from that. Is who can put the work out at the lowest price.
Right.
And at some point, that price should have became unreasonable to the people sitting at the table, because just being able to put the work out, and what you wind up doing is what they're basically saying, and this is to all the workers in this country, when you're dealing with private contractors, the only place they can get the savings is off the back of the workers. So I'm going to bid as low as I can and then make my money back by working the workers harder, which is unsafe, making them work for 50, 60, 70 hours a week, which is actually driving their productivity and their life standards down. You know, although you're getting a little overtime, but in order for you to make what would be a reasonable living, you have to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week just to get what should be a normal paycheck for 1 week. So they'll come in, you know, and I've been doing this for years. They cut corners, they cut safety, you know, anywhere that they can cut to get a profit, that's what these companies do.
My understanding too is that there was a strike in Reno, Nevada, against the same company over the same type of issues.
Yes.
That the another local in Prince William County, Virginia, has now voted overwhelmingly to go on strike if necessary. Again, this is another Keolis, run, I guess, county, if you will.
Yes.
And the other thing I understand too is that Loudoun County is supposed to. The deal they have with Keolis is if Keolis cannot operate these bus lines, they need to pay a fine essentially to the county because they're not delivering on what they claim they can deliver. And part of what they claim they can deliver is workers at this rate. And these, this is the way you defined reasonable price, right? Is can you deliver what you say you can deliver without essentially destroying your workers? And if you can't, they got to pay. But the county's letting them off the hook for those fines. And it seems like basically they're putting their thumbs on this labor dispute.
So I'll say this, as far as the county goes, and you're 100% correct. We had a conversation just last night about this. I'm trying to find a correct or politically correct way to say what I heard was a bunch of mumbo jumbo. It didn't make sense. I had my attorney sitting beside me. And yes, the county can and should be fining Keolis for not putting out this service. I mean, I can't tell you why people do what they're doing or don't do what they should be doing. I can say this, and you speak about the nurses and everything else that's going on across this country with essential workers, because when it came time, we stepped up. Essential workers across the board stepped up, from the grocery store workers to the pharmacy workers to even the person who cleaning the rooms at the hospital after someone died of COVID. Somebody had to go in there and clean up. You know, these are the people who we don't see. We see the firefighters, we see the police officers, and now we see the doctors and the nurses. But what about the rest of us, like the transit workers? And now you have nurses across the country going on strike because we're fed up and we're tired. We are no longer willing to just put up with the treatment of somebody. I mean, I just saw a statistic that said America has more billionaires now since the beginning of this pandemic, than they ever had. So what you're seeing is businesses are getting richer, and they're getting richer on the back of the working class people like myself and you all. And all we're saying is we're not trying to stop you from becoming rich. It's a democracy. That's what we do here in America. But we just want our fair share. You're no longer going to get get off of the workers' backs in this country anymore. And this is the message we are sending to Keolis. And then ask yourself this question. Just in this region alone, every Keolis property that they have, which is the one in Prince William that you mentioned, the one in Loudoun County, and you spoke about the one in Reno. It got to be a problem with the company. It can't be a problem with these different unions. Right. You know, it got to be a problem with this company and the way that they do business. And the way that they do business is about their profit margins.
I mean, it's also, frankly, an indictment of the idea of privatizing these things, because you could either pay the workers who are actually doing the work, or you could have to slice off some for shareholders and for C-suite people and board of directors, so that they can all get their cut, and they're actually lending very little to the process here. Our audience, big fans of public transport, want to thank you for the work you've been doing. What can folks do if they live in Loudoun County to support you guys? What can they do if they live outside of Loudoun County?
I mean, across the region, we're out on strike. We need help. You know, to be honest, if you can come out and just come out and get these people on this line encouragement. One thing that they do when you go out on strike is you lose your health benefits. So we're starting a fundraising page for these workers, so that, I mean, the union can only do so much, you know, and we need other people in the region to step up. Some of the things you can do is call the politicians out in Loudoun County and ask them to make their contractor come back to the table and do what the contractor is supposed to do, and that's bargain in good faith. We've, man, I can speak all day about this. We've done any and everything we can, and like I say, we've pretty much been bargaining against ourselves at the table. So anybody that's listening or can hear us, I'm asking you all, reach out to the politicians in Loudoun County, have them hold their contractor 2 feet to the fire, and if you can come out, you know, donate some food, anything you can. The workers are out there every day, 3 o'clock in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, they're out there and they're marching. And I'm so proud of them.
Do you have a strike fund or any kind of link where people can go to? We can put it in the description. So I will send it to you all. We're actually putting it together now. We had some ATU members from New Jersey and New York come out Monday and they donated. So we are actually putting that fund together now. To be honest, we didn't think that we would be out this long. January in the cold. We thought that this company would show some type of humanity. I don't know why we thought that, but we thought that they would. And it's funny that even some of the basic things that we're asking for, they give to the workers in France.
Yeah, this is a French company. That occurred to me too as I was reading into this. We know, I mean, look, the bottom line is these companies are going to get away with what they can get away with. And if they can get away with something different here than they get away with in France, they're going to do it. And unless, without you guys, being able to fight this, they'll get away with what they can get away with. And so hopefully folks out there will bring you some more support, and we wish you the best of luck. I know you got your press for time, so we'll let you go. But Raymond Jackson, maybe you can come back and give us an update in a while and see how you're doing.
I would love to, Sam. And let me, if I can, and I explained to you all before we came online, also represent the WMATA workers. We had a member this morning who was shot. I need to get over there to the location so that I can find out what's going on with them. But I would plead to anyone, again, within the sound of my voice, reach out to your local politicians. The crime in this region is starting to be uncontrollable. You have workers who can't even come to work without being shot. That's a problem.
All right, Raymond, we really appreciate your time today. And you'll send us those links. We'll put them, we will post them.
I'll make sure you get them. And And Ms. Sam, thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Raymond.
All right.